Hey guys, it's Jeff. Another video in the ShotShow 2020 series, so stay tuned to my channel for more. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider that subscribe button now. You'll find contact information in the description below from the manufacturer. I hope you enjoy the video coming up after this.
Hi, we're here at ShotShow 2020. My name is Jim McNair, and I'm here with Kershaw and Zero Tolerance Knives. We're here to talk to you about what the new stuff we've got for the show. So, first off, we have our new butterfly knife. This is kind of a cool new piece, something we haven't done in a while, so I'm going to just quickly get that open for you. This is called the 5150. We call it the Lucha. So this is a really neat little piece. We're really excited to release it. We have a fully flat ground 14C28M blade. We've got great little details or machined out pockets in it, trying to give it a really unique feel and look. Also focusing on the weight and the balance. We've really worked hard to make sure this knife balances nicely. It's running on our KVT ball bearing washers. We have steel handles with a nice rounded contour on the edges so it rolls nicely in your hand. We have internal stop pins. We also have a little bit of a radius to the end of our latch, so if you're flipping and it ever kind of gets caught in between the handles, it has a tendency to want to squirt right out of there, get out of the way. So again, a real nice piece. It's a full-size butterfly knife. And we have an MSRP of $189 on this. So street price on these is actually going to be just about $120. Really, I think it's going to be an affordable, USA-made quality knife for those who like to flip the ballad songs. So next up, we have our new ZT. This is the ZT-0308. So in the past few years, we've had a trend of making slimmer, lighter, narrower knives, more gentlemanly, great for carrying and slacks, things like that. And we've had customers ask us, well, you know, your roots are in heavy, hard-use knives. And so the 308 is kind of a return to form in that sense. So this is, again, kind of an extension of our 300 series, which are discontinued. It's a new design, but it still has a bit of that original feel and flair that those had. We have fully 3D contoured G10 scale on the front with a nice heavy texture, but again, if you can feel that, it's really not overly, it's not going to tear up your pants. It's just enough to give you a good grip. It's running on KVT ball bearing washers. That's a departure from our original series. So this is a nice, smooth manual action knife. Flips really easily, even with that big blade.
On the pivot, looks like a proprietary pin there.
It is, yes. So we actually have a solid pivot running through this instead of a hollow pivot with a screw. We have a solid bolt with a nut on it. Now the other cool thing about this is that, again, we wanted this to be something that was hard use, easily adjustable in the field. So it fits a 1/2-inch combo wrench.
Very cool.
Or if you just have a crescent wrench or an adjustable wrench, you can adjust it with that as well. We have a 3D contoured machined titanium back handle with a hardened lock bar insert. Stonewashed CPM 20 CV. And then another fun thing is that we actually have used a standard hole pattern for Starling Gear clips, and I believe Starling Gear. I know that Steel Flame uses this pattern. So for those who like to customize their knives, like the Crusader crosses and the skulls, those will bolt right onto this knife.
Awesome.
So a little bit of customization.
Beautiful knife.
And an MSRP of $375 on this. So I guess I'll show these together real quick because we released the 0230 late last year, but again, like I was talking about, this really shows kind of the breadth of the line and where ZT has gone. So we still want to offer hard use work knives, but we can also offer something like this. And you know, I've kind of made the example the other day. It's almost like you've got a defensive lineman and a ballerina. They're both strong, but one of them is your big bruising heavyweight, and one is very lightweight but also very powerful. So the 230 is a Yen Zanso design. Again, we've got nice strong carbon fiber scales on it, but extra lightweight. We have an aluminum backspacer with a blue anodize, a full width flat grind on a CPM 20 CV blade. That nice sheep's foot profile is so useful for detail work, for cutting, opening packaging, things like that. I know it helped with me with my kids at Christmas time. All those plastic packages.
What's the weight on that?
You know, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's very light.
It's very light, I noticed.
And again, it's our first slip joint. So we have a little bit of a center stop position, and then your full open and closed.
Awesome.
And an MSRP of $225 on this one. So then I'm going to show these as a pair. We have two new Speed Safe knives here. These are actually knives that we've offered before, but in a more of a value price. So we have the 1812 Dividend and the 1776 Link. So these have both been changed up for this year. We have a new machining pattern in the handles, kind of a new texture and a feel. Both have the olive green handles. They both have deep carry pocket clips instead of the standard carry that they've had before. And then we've upgraded the blade steels. So we have a CPM 20 CV blade with a stonewash finish, and we have a composite blade with a CPM D2 on the edge and an N690 spine. So these are really cool knives, and they're kind of a different value proposition now, because with with 20 CV and CPM D2 composite, either one of these is $129.
Very nice.
So while that's more expensive than the old models, when you compare it to most other knives out on the market that have these kind of steels, we think this is going to be a real nice value. Street price will be under $100 for either one of these, whichever you choose.
Good sellers for you, I'm sure.
So, and again,
any thought gone into making those not speed assist?
in this case, they've remained as that. You know,
Okay.
it's been kind of the automatic transmission for our knives, and a
Yeah.
lot of people like it. So
A lot of people do like it. I think there's some, not purists, but people who like to customize.
absolutely, and we do hear that. And in this case, these ones, we made the decision to leave them as assisted.
No worries.
There's no plans for making them manual at the moment.
Understood.
So then, one step further, we have some new automatics. This is the Launch 12. It's a matte Diskin design. Some of you may notice that this is actually a shortened version of our Launch 8, which has got that kind of Italian stiletto look to it, and we decided it'd be fun to make a more compact version. People have really enjoyed and responded well with the small knives. These are just a little different. These are a 2.5-inch blade. So we have spent some time making some California legal knives with blades that were just under 2 inches, and we found that they're popular all over the US, not just in California. So in this case, we're trying something different. Gives you a little more to hold on to. 2.5-inch blade is still a nice compromise. So these will not be legal in California, either one of these, but they are a nice compact size with an automatic. So this one we've been kind of affectionately referring to as Baby Shark. And then we have the Launch 11, which again this is also kind of a departure for the lineup, because they've been a little bigger, a little more curvy, and this is very contemporary looking, very straight, very sleek. We have this new hole all the way through the handle, titanium trim ring with a bronze finish, a new, very slim, very sleek pen clip on these knives, and so we have an MSRP of $150 for the Launch 12 and $160 for the Launch 11, just with that black blade.
Did you cover the steels on those?
I'm sorry, these are same as most of our automatic lineup. These have a CPM 154 blade.
Thank you.
So next up, we have some new options in copper. I'll show these together, even though we have a US piece and 2 imports.
Is that dividend or a leak?
This is a leak.
Leak, okay.
Yep, so this is our copper leak. So obviously, the big thing about this is that it's a liner lock knife with solid copper scales. And actually, it's not horrendously heavy. A lot of times the copper knives, when they're bigger, they can be pretty heavy. This one's not too bad. Assisted opening, stonewashed CPM 154 blade. And our reversible pocket clip and a tip safety. And this is an MSRP of $150. So then we have 2 more options in our Natrix lineup. Our original copper Natrix was actually based on the smallest size that we've made of these, with a 2.75-inch blade. And it was so popular that we've begun to offer it with a 3.25-inch blade and a 3.75-inch blade. So, so we have the medium version with the 3.25 blade. Like the small version, these both have the D2 blades, subframe lock, reversible deep carry pocket clip, and the solid copper scales. Now we've weight relieved these a little bit, but as it is copper, there's going to be some heft to them. This one's actually not too bad. This one is definitely, it's got some girth. So again, 3.75-inch blades, same specs, stone-washed D2, and actually a nice stone-washed finish on the copper as well. So it adds a little something to that patina that they get. The Leak, on the other hand, has a brushed finish, so it's got a little more of a sheen to it, where these are a little more matte, a little more rugged looking. It's preferences, what you like. But we have an MSRP of $150 for the Leak, $125 for the medium-sized copper Natrix, and $150 for the large copper Natrix, or I'll call that the extra large.
Can you pull the ZT out and show the big ZT-308 next to it?
Yeah,
Just for size comparisons?
Same size for those two, the XL there.
Awesome. Thank you.
So then, one little value proposition here. This is called the Diode. This is more of a small keychain knife. This fits into what we call our starter series. We've got kind of 3 tiers for our import product at this point. Starter series is meant to be more of a value priced knife. And then we have more of our standard lineup with 8CR13 MOV and different handles. And then some of the ones we've seen earlier, like those copper Natrixes, would be more of our upgraded, I'd say a higher end import with a D2 blade and some different features. But something we've really worked hard with our starter series is we've really tried to put a lot of design into them, try to bring them up market, make them feel like a really cool knife, so you don't feel like you're compromising to buy one of these. I've noticed a lot, like in the auto industry, you look at like a Toyota Corolla, which is one of their entry-level cars, there's a ton of design in it, and they really have made them quite beautiful. And so we're trying to incorporate that same kind of ethic with our entry-level knives as well, to make them something you'd be proud to own. You don't feel like you're giving much up. So again, we have a very short blade. It's actually under 2 inches. Liner lock construction. Of a really cool pattern in these injection molded handles. And and we have a great keychain ring, which also has a screwdriver on the end, or if you want to pry or scrape with it, it's really handy. It keeps you from doing that with the blade. People still do.
My shuffle, I use it every day.
Yeah.
I love it.
And an MSRP of $35 on this one, so really quite reasonable.
Yes.
So then finally, one more departure. We don't really do a lot of fixed blades in our lineup, but this is our new fixed blade. This fits into our Camp series. This is actually called the Camp 5, kind of a little brother to the Camp 10. But as we know, siblings don't always look quite alike. So we have a similar sheath to our Camp 10, but this blade itself is a little more of a Bowie style. We have a deep swedge and a full width flat grind. One thing I really like about this knife is that we've made it thick enough but not too thick. And I'm not knocking anybody, but everyone has their own opinions, but I feel like a fixed blade, you want it thick enough that you could pry with it or do what you need to do, not have it break, but it doesn't need to be so thick that it becomes overly heavy. So this has a nice injection molded handle with a solid crisscross texture on it. It's really nicely contoured and comfortable. You can just see it's just fully rounded over, and just a really nice piece. We are using a D2 blade on this as well, so nice edge retention. It's a good steel for working with. And then we have this injection molded sheath as well. We have a strap for retention, and we also have retention in the sheath itself. So you press this piece right here, it slides right out. And then for extra security, or if you even want to attach it to a backpack strap, we have the snap strap right here to keep it fully secured in the sheath. So this has an MSRP of $95. And yeah, something to add to our outdoor lineup.